Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to talk about envy and how it actually affects us, as it is a huge thing, especially in the society that we live in today with social media and all this. Now, if you don't know me, I'm Christian. I've built my own company with my business partner, Miguel, where we help coaches, consultants, grow their business. So, what is it that I want to discuss today? And that is envy, as I just quickly mentioned. Now, what is envy, right? What is this envy thing that I'm talking about? I'm sure you probably know what envy is, but essentially, envy is wanting something that another person have, right? Or having the need and feel like you need something which you don't have, but someone else possesses. So you envy that person because they have something you don't, and you feel like you need that thing from that person. That is basically what envy is. And envy plays a huge role in our society today, more than a lot of people like to care about, because people is not a very pretty thing to be said, right? Envy is not really a thing that we like to go around and share that we're envious of people, and sometimes that we are acting out of envy. It's not something that we like to share with others. So we try to keep it to ourselves, and we end up sabotaging others, because we're actually, we're envious. So we just unconsciously try to sabotage them, because we want what they have. Maybe we may have good intentions, but we just slowly get turned to the dark side, really, because of it. Now, what I mean with this envy, right? There's different kinds of it, different factors, right? There's, the small envies, right? With someone gotten an ice cream and you wanted one, like the small ones, right? And you find these all the time everywhere in daily life, and these are not really that important, right? And these don't really lead to that many actions. It could be someone, who just had a nice day at work, right? It could be someone where his meeting went very well. It could be someone where, what's it called, he just got a cookie, or he got the last piece and you felt like, oh, I wanted that, right? It's something like this, these small things which don't really have, that much of an impact. And we can become envious of them, these small things, but these are the small things that, but it doesn't matter that much, because it usually isn't that serious, right? Because it is just small things, and it's a very natural thing. So you shouldn't think a lot about these, just think, oh, why I'm envious. Just, I'll get to how you can do to fix this later on, but here for the start, what you really need to focus on, or what you really need to understand, is that envy it's kind of a stretchy subject, right? And it happens all the time in all sorts of day and all sorts of life. So when you think about your life, like, let's start with these small ones. When you think about your life and just your last day in general, has there been places or times where you feel like, you know what, I wish that was me? Just these small things, right? It might be someone got a little praise that you didn't, or someone did a record that you didn't, something like that, right? And you may be a little bit envious of it. Just think about it. Is there something like that in the last couple of days, last couple of weeks? Just small things. You might be able to name a few. Now, this is a very good exercise to start becoming aware of actual envy. And a lot of these times it happens with peers, friends, people you're actually close with, and that you can actually see, right? Because, if you think about the whole world, there's probably a shit ton of people who are getting shit that you want. But, you only really notice what you see, which is, it's kind of funny if you look at it that way. But, so the thing is this way, right? What is in your environment, what is the people in your environment, is usually the people that you have these small envious tendencies towards. Now, that's a small kind of envy, like the small innocent things that happens to all of us. That doesn't really mean anything. But a lot of these small ones actually have a deeper form of envy, which really attracts or really shows itself in the bigger picture. Now, this is like you literally being envy of another person, where, not just like they got a little thing today, and like, oh, I want their life, I don't want their success, I want their things, right? I feel like I should have those, so they don't deserve it, really. And this is the kind of envy that starts to become a little bit more hurtful. We call this active envy, where now you're actually liking some big things and you're starting to act on them, right? And this happens in all sorts of form. And you have to remember, before we get further into this subject, because it can seem a bit, devious and maybe not that nice. That envy is something that we all have, right? It's something. It's deep human nature. It's something that we as humans really live with. It's actually proven in studies that monkeys feel envy, and other bird. There's also a bird that it exists, and they also feel envy, because it is just it's such an emotion that is just, it's very hard for us to control. That envy will doubt up. It's just what we do with it that we actually have control over. So yeah, but it takes practice, a lot of practice, if you want to get good at it. I'm just thinking, is there? No, doesn't matter. Just get it up. Start nose. So, from what I'm saying here is that when you get these larger kinds of envies, and when you're really envious of another person, it sometimes leads to behavioral change, right? You change the way you act around that person. And what you find is that you're really only envious for people you have some sort of relation to, whereas people you don't really have a relation to, you don't seem to really be envious of those guys or people, or you really don't, right? You need to have you need to feel like there's some form of connection between the two of you, right? And that might just be the thing that they have that you don't, that's connection. But if that's not there, you won't really be envious of people. So when first analyzing or looking at the envy that people have, you first have to see, okay, why do I want that thing that the people have, that person has? And again, a lot of these things and envy is, a lot of people are more envious than others, and tend to envy more than other, because some people are just born with, they're more talented, they're geniuses, and they never really get to the stage where they don't have what others want. Not really. So they don't really envy as much, whereas us normal folks and normal people, we look up to people who have success and are in places that we want to be. And it's really hard to do the deep reflecting and really understand yourself as a person and as who you are in relation to these big subjects, or other people, because also something, actually a fun thing that you tend to see, that people who are very successful through hard work, and then people who envy those people and feel like they should get some of what they have if they were close relation to them, but they don't have that, they haven't really put in the same effort, right? And this is really, sorry, there's just a lot of noise out there, and they haven't put in the same effort, and yet they still feel like they should get the same as what they are, even though it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't make logical sense, right? It makes irrational, emotional sense, which is crazy. But that's what it is, right? There's not a lot we can do about it, but we can change the fact on how we react on it. Now, envy, let's think about where I want to go from here. You have to think about envy in this kind of way, that is, it's something that you will undoubtedly have, and it is not something that you should be ashamed of, because it is completely human to have it, and it's not really in your force and in your power to not have envy, even though if you train yourself for it. But if you haven't done anything for it, try to train yourself with the envy, you can't really blame yourself for having it, because it's such a human, basic thing within our psychological makeup that makes us human, that we actually have and feel envy. So you shouldn't blame yourself for having it or wanting what others have. Now, what you can do is start to change why you have it. You start to not change, just ask yourself why you have it. First thing, as always, is just become aware that you actually feel envy, because a lot of people tend to isolate, because it's not a nice feeling. Even for us who are feeling envious, it makes us feel bad in some way, right? It makes us feel like idiots and stupid people if we nag, and if we're all over the place, and we're just basically we pity ourselves in a way, because we feel this kind of petty that we have these kind of emotions, but still in the same way we it's a little hard for me to I want to say this correctly. So we feel petty that on ourselves for having these emotions. So we seal them up by putting a facade on them, right? We justify the envy, saying, yeah, but that guy's that, I should have it too because, right? Because I've done this. I deserve this, right? We put up these cover words of why it's okay for us to feel the envy. Because envy itself, whatever ways it go, is a bad feeling we feel about ourselves, and we tend to look down and not really respect people who feel envy, even if it is ourselves. So that's why we try to justify it with a good reason, or a reason of why it's okay to feel that envy. And this is when it becomes really toxic, because now you're starting to lie to yourself, right? You're starting to delude yourself with it being okay to have feelings of envy without doing anything about it. Because it is okay, right? It is okay to feel envious, but it's not okay to cover them up with bullshit and then continue to act on them. Because essentially, if you don't work with these feelings, you will end up acting on them. And this means that you'll start to undermine the person which you're feeling envious of. It could be spreading rumors about them. It could be, putting in a bad word, small shitty comments, trying to steal their work, taking in credit, like all these small things, or just leads to one big thing, right? It could be punishing them. It could be endangering them, whatever the fuck it is. There's a lot of things and actions that we can take to try and even the balance of envy, so you get more and they get less, right? It's also when we're envious of someone, if they feel a loss, we tend to be, fuck those guys, let's go, oh, it feels so good, right? So when they lose, it feels so good for us, and then when they win, it feels so shitty for us. This is a really, really bad thing. It's called the Frommenhauden something. Well, Milfrauden. Ja, jeg kan ikke huske det. Augenfreude. Some German word. Sorry that my Deutsch is not like that big of a level, right? But essentially, when we see someone else succeed, we cringe, right? We feel pain. We feel anxiety. We're nervous. We're scared. We're sad. When we see them fail, someone that we envy, we feel joy, happiness, excitement. And this is very fucking toxic. Because this just feeds a loop of you wanting to see them fail and hate to see them on top. So you do everything to get that because you love the good emotions and hate the bad ones. So you do everything in your power to try to make them not experience good things and make them experience bad things. Now, a thing you need to try and see if you can change is whenever you start to feel these emotions, you need to revert the effect. So when they're happy, you start to feel happy. Like, not just, oh, congratulations, you did so well, woo, good for you, right? No, like really, really empathetic. Feel like the joy that they have and be joyous of their joy, right? So instead of when they are happy, instead of feeling resentment, pain, sadness, start to feel the joy. Try to share the joy that they're sharing. Now, this might seem stupid, right? From an envious point, you won't really get anything from it. But we can also take from those, if they lose, still feeling joy and excitement and happiness, start to feel like the failure that they fail, like feel that too. Empathize with them. And this might not seem like any way to get closer to what they have, but in fact, you're getting closer to them, right, as a person. You're building that relationship, and when you're building that relationship with you and the other person, you'll learn, and you'll earn the favor of that person, and you'll call in favors eventually, and you'll learn stuff from them, and you'll just generally be in a better place. So this is a really interesting subject, actually, now I think about it. Yeah, it is. Alright, so the next thing you can start thinking about, next thing you can start doing, is start really thinking about the way that you just watch yourself. Really, I talk about this in a lot of my latest videos. Awareness is such a huge key factor and determining factor to you as a person if you're actually being, as good as you can be. Because not that you should be good. You should just try to accept the envious. Because I mean, you don't really want to accept the part of you which is envious because you know or you feel like being envious. That's kind of a dick maneuver. But you have to accept that it is a part of yourself to then be able to change it. And what you want to do, instead of feeling envious, right? You want to try and first, like as I said, try to feel their emotions will also make it better for you. But you have to, instead of taking envy as a bad thing, you need to make it as a good thing. Like the opposite of envy is admiration. Admire someone, right? Instead of envy someone, you start to admire them. This means motivation, discipline, just drive, really. So you can start to take inspiration because you admire them, right? You want to get to where they are. You don't want what they have. You want to get there yourself to get what they have. Start to take like this side of it. It will be fucking hard, right? And it's not going to be possible for you to change it like this. Is something that I'm working with a lot. It's not possible for you to just change it overnight and be able to like instantly start dropping all these things, because it's such a deep psychological thing within us humans that you need to just it will take some time for you to adjust to it, right? But essentially it is a needed thing, right? So just start to like really just analyze that feeling of envy, why you have it, what are you actually envious of, and is the feeling justified? I mean, shit, there might be a good reason, what the fuck do I know? But really just start to understand it, start to drive it, start to work it, right? Understand why they feel the feel, and just, I mean, also a good thing to analyze that, like, success is a facade, right? You don't really see all the shit behind it. So when people share their success stories, especially on social media, it's really bad. People only show the good side. They only show the good side. But what you learn is that to get to where they are, there's so much shit. So you just have this wrong image that you're envying, and you try to achieve it, but it's not fucking possible. So yeah, and I mean, there'll always be people who envy, and this video might change one person or two people, but fuck, dude. If that's what it does, I mean, if you're watching this right now and you're actually listening and maybe want to change stuff from it, even though I'm not making a lot of sense, I hope I am though. Like, that's enough for me, right? And I mean, shit, dude, I get envious all the time. I can't hide that. There's people in my niche that I feel doing a lot better than me, that I want to get to where they are. But at the end of the day, really, you have the choice. You just keep envying and not really move away from that, or you can start to actually take action on the envy. And instead of, that envy, just use it, because it's emotion, it's drive, right? It's emotions. Because if you let the envy rule, you'll do stupid things, but you still take action. You still get energy to take action. If you can change the way that you channel your envy into doing good things and productivity at work, instead of focusing on fucking with someone else, you can start off improving yourself. So like when people ask for energy, these are the things. Emotion drives us. So just learn to direct it, not control it. Direct emotion in the correct way. Maybe that it is controlling, right? But you can't really control emotions. You can manage it. Control and management, two different things. Because a manager, he can tell people what to do and where, but he can't control their every action and how they do that job. A controller controls everything, right? Control how it gets done, blah, 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 blah. No, you can't do this with emotion. It doesn't work. But what you can do is that you can put the emotion in the right direction. So if you're feeling envious, you can convert that into admiration and into energy and into work, right? Into productivity and get somewhere. Now this is fucking hard. I'm not gonna lie with you. I'm not professional at this. So this is what I'm working with. Hence I'm making this video. I'm still working on this myself. And this just doesn't, it doesn't just include envy. This is such a broad subject that really is about any emotion that you feel. An emotion, again, it's the force, right? It's the drive. It's like, for me, for a long time, just getting money and just getting what other people want is what I wanted. But it was so on the surface. It's not really, you can't really be driven by money. I had a goal and all this shit, but it didn't really mean a lot to me. Like, I love making my business, it's fun what I do, but it didn't feel like a true calling, right? That's what I'm searching for. True calling, a way to do the thing that I love and make money and be happy. But what I've learned, if you really just focus on what you love, I mean, money will follow. Because what people want is not money, it's what money buys, right? This took a bit of a side, so I don't want to go into that one. But yeah, it's okay to be envious. Right, just one final thought here. It's okay to be envious. It's okay to want what other people have. But don't sabotage them. I mean, relate to them. Share their ups and downs. And build a new own. Right. That's it for me today. If you like the video, hit the subscribe if you want to see more. If you like it, smash that like button. Peace out.